Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Merry and I'm the supervising psychologist of Life Care Centers. Today we're going to talk about something that is a significant block to gratitude in our lives, and that's the issue of insecurities and comparison and how we measure ourselves against others and find ourselves lacking. I had a client quite a while ago, a very successful businessman. He had all the latest gadgets, he had all the sports car. I mean, he was a successful man by any stretch of the imagination. The thing was, he wasn't happy, and he wasn't actually, to be honest, really liked, because he would show off and he would brag, and so he was coming in actually on the verge of a marriage split up because his wife, anyway, long story, and he just wanted to turn his life around. What's going on with me? And as I sat there listening to his story, there was all sorts of things he was saying, you know, the way he would puff out his chest, and you know, he kept on throwing in all these names of people he knew. My instinct would have been to not like him, like a lot of people do. But when I actually really paid attention to what was going on for him, I recognized this is a very insecure man. He is a longing for acceptance. He's longing to matter. He's longing for all the things that all of us as human beings long for. But because he was not aware of his insecurity, he was so busy trying to be the best at everything and comparing himself to other people that he didn't recognize that about himself. And when I think about that, when I personalize that for myself as well, you know, when a friend is successful or when they have a great opportunity, I want so desperately to celebrate with them. But if I were to be honest with myself, sometimes inside me there's a little sense of, right? And that's that then when God is so gracious in my own life, maybe I'm not going to be as thankful for that opportunity or whatever might be going on. So that is when I need to pay attention to what's going on in me, what insecurity is being triggered. So with this man, that's actually the journey we went on. I took him on the journey of telling me his story, and he told me about his very critical father and his very passive mother, who kind of tolerated all sorts of angry outbursts from her husband, almost abusive. And so this man grew up thinking that his sense of worth is rooted in how successful he can be and how much he can acquire and how much better he looks compared to his friends and his neighbors and all of that. And so that became his mission in life, because he was so insecure about himself and he didn't believe in himself and his sense of worth. So in unpacking that journey, we actually were able to get to the root of that. And he was able to grieve through the loss of a painful childhood and a loss of what every child should have, which is parents who believe utterly in them and love them for who they are and celebrate who they are, without it being about their performance or their achievements or whatever goods they're able to get from sheer hard work. So when we did that, he became a lot softer, but still the essential person that he was. And he began to realize that the things that he was doing, he began to take responsibility. The things that he was doing, so focused on the materialism, that was causing him to actually ultimately not be happy. Now, in all of this, I want to emphasize, if this is something that you yourself are starting to realize, I'm often comparing myself to others. I'm often feeling inadequate. I feel like others are always better than me. Why do they have all the gifts and talents? Why do they have all the opportunities? If that's you, I want you to give yourself some grace, first of all, because I know you probably beat yourself up sometimes for that way of thinking. Often, like I said, there's unresolved insecurity and unresolved even traumas. And so a big part of your journey is actually giving yourself the space to walk through your story, identify the things that you experienced growing up that gave you wrong messages, that you were worthless, or that people rejected you because there was something wrong with you, that somehow your worth was in what you had and what you did. And really taking the time to understand that. Going with a professional if that's necessary, if the trauma is in fact pretty deep, and giving yourself some healing through that. Now, the interesting thing about insecurity is, first of all, how hidden it is. We can be so unaware of it, but also the areas in which it shows up. For many people, without realizing it, it often will show up in their relationships. when couples get into the dance where they're angry at each other and withdrawing from each other. Often insecurity can be at the root of that. In career, for example, or even in sports or different things that you're trying to achieve. And insecurity can be one of the things that leads to self-sabotage. So you set out goals, whether it's to get married, have a successful relationship, have a career, win the Olympic medal, whatever it might be. When you have a deep-rooted sense of insecurity, as in, I don't deserve this, someone's going to out me as a fraud, no one's going to really love me if they really knew who I was, or whatever your insecurity may be, there is something within your unconscious where you're going to sabotage yourself so that you lose that relationship before you can actually lose that relationship. And well, I'm not going to try after that career because, you know, it's not what I wanted anyway, because you're afraid that you're going to fail because you don't believe in yourself. So that's some of the ways that insecurity can show itself. So being aware of that is really, really key. And also recognizing that you are rooting too much of your self-worth in how others see you, in your accomplishments, in your achievements. Instead, focusing on how God sees you. Do you know that when He sees you as holy and blameless and beloved? I mean, He thinks you're pretty awesome and pretty cool. And He created you with great delight. And when you are able to really sit in that truth of how He sees you and your immeasurable worth, such immeasurable worth that He died for you, and you're able to really rest in that, then that is probably the greatest antidote to insecurity and comparison and feeling like you have to always keep up with the Joneses. So let that be what you hold on to, and let that be your source of hope.